You know, every year we have a tradition where we gather together at the end of the day on Saturday just to reflect a moment about why we're all here. And, you know, I've always told people in all these projects, it's never about the buildings, it's about the people. We've got the privilege to help some real special folks this weekend, the Winger'S and the Andrews and the Howard family and the 4-H and the community MENA. And what I've always said to them from the very beginning of this process is you have no idea the gift you've given to us. I cry all the time. You're not allowed to cry that much. If you cry that much, and I'm going to start losing it now. When I first had the privilege of meeting Amy and Tom and their family and walking around where their house was, Amy shared with me the story of her original house. The original house belonged to her great-grandmother, Amy Jones, who she was named after. And she had a very close relationship with her great-grandmother, Amy. We used to spend a lot of time together. There was a particular rocking chair that her great-grandmother used to sit in and rock in. And what I realized talking to Amy was, I think, what so many of us have experienced in our own tragedies. There's a loss of life, there's a loss of buildings, but it's always about something else. It's about that relationship. And how do you maintain that relationship? And I realized visiting the house the first time, part of the sadness after the tornado is about how do you keep the relationship with great-grandma going when you lose that house. So could you please come up? We're all family, so we can all cry and chew with our mouths open. Amy shared with me a story about her great-grandmother's rocking chair. And I'm pretty convinced things happen at levels that none of us could really imagine, but if you have faith, it really happens. And after her great-grandmother passed a few years ago, the rocking chair left the home. And we wanted to make sure that she had a piece of the old home. So Wes Atkins from Council Bluffs, Iowa, took a whole bunch of wood from the old home.
This is where he's
crying.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Woo! So we can get
that's what we're trying to figure out, if you can actually sit in it or not.
Wes built it, I can sit in it.
Oh, yeah, go sitting.
Yeah, so we can get a picture of you playing.
Amazing.
Yeah!
There was something else, and we didn't get a chance to finish this. Stand up, I'm going to give you a hug. I'd asked Amy to write a letter about her great-grandmother and her relationship with her great-grandmother, and we actually found a photo of it. And we didn't finish it, but eventually the photo and the letter can become part of the church. So your great-grandma and her spirit and your relationship with her and the gift in the house will always continue. All right, with you and with your husband and with your kids and with everybody in this world. All right, we're all going to be sitting in that chair someday. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you know, Amy.
Yeah, I know what you do now.
The whole town of MENA has kept this as a surprise from Amy. Like all the neighbors.
Oh yeah, we all
we know something you don't know.
Exactly.
All the time. You want me to talk?
No,
Whew.
It's okay, baby. You're among family.
Okay, well, those of you who know me know I'm not a public speaker. The ones that you don't, we'll find out in about 5 seconds. I cannot thank everyone enough for what everyone's done for my family and the other families in MENA, the community coming together for MENA. It's just an awesome experience. And Jeff, I mean, talks about his dysfunctional family reunions every year, and I can't wait to join it.
Just you, not Tom.
I'll remember that. And the kids.
But, I mean, just the experience it's unreal. I mean, everybody coming, you know, people that we don't even know coming together to help MENA, and it's one big family reunion year after year, and it's going to be great, I know. And I want to thank, it's hard to thank everyone because I don't want to leave no one out. And I would just like to thank everyone, my friends, my family, everyone for sitting behind me from the beginning. I'm trying to cry again.
Go for it.
Charlie, you guys are so awesome.
You guys are awesome.
Everyone from New York says thank you. It's been so unbelievable watching all this come out. And the chair is, it's overwhelming. But thank you everyone for coming together, the town and everyone, even from after the tornado until now. I can't thank anyone enough.
Yay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
There's so many people who took part in this process, and I also especially want to thank all the guys from Slidell. I mean, this is
Slide down.
How about a two-peat, all right? Just a two-peat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Are you gonna send me some of that jambalaya too?
You see, you know, they say they're blessings in everything, and like nobody should ever wish a tornado or a disaster on anybody. But if it happens, these guys will wind up cooking for us. So there's blessings everywhere. We also have another tradition. Jim Zorlin, are you around?
I'm here.
All right, come in, you crusty old guy.
Parade director. Let's go. Woo!
For those of you who don't know Jim's been the construction coordinator for Polk County Long-Term Recovery. And you remember, like, and all the folks in Polk County, you know, James Earl and Alicia and everybody else, and Lori and everybody who supported, and all the caseworkers who worked so closely with the families. You remember Radar O'Reilly from MASH? Like, he was always getting supplies, like the general would want whiskey from Tokyo. Like, that's a Jim. He just figures out where to get everything from everywhere. And what's amazing is he coordinated the rebuilding not just of this house in terms of getting materials and stuff, but the other houses as well for the other families. And I mean, imagine what it's like running around to try to get all this chaos organized, you know, to build 3 houses in addition to the community center this weekend. The tradition we have, do we even have a name for it? I don't know, just like the pay for tradition, whatever. All right, so here's how it started. When I drove cross country in the truck for New York Says Thank You, and it wasn't me, I never even drove an inch, I was on the phone the whole time. And there were 2 other guys driving, Stavros Michaelides and Marius, got Marius last name. Kaylin. And Stavros comes from this wonderful Greek family. He actually built our home. And when Stavros came to Baker Chapel, he brought a hammer, and he left it. I don't know if it was on purpose or an accident. And then the next year, the folks from Baker Chapel brought the hammer to Groesbeck, Texas, right? Did I get that right? Yeah. And they said every year we're going to pass this hammer forward. And the folks in Groesbeck said, yeah, well, that's cool, but we're going to add to it every year. So the Vincent family in Groesbeck, Texas added a tool belt. And then the next year they brought that to Greensburg, Kansas, and gave it to Matt Dayton. And what was the tool that was added that year?
Pocket knife.
The utility knife, right? And then the Vincents presented it to Matt Dayton from Greensburg, Kansas. Last year, Matt brought it to Little Sioux, Iowa, presented it to Denny. So you understand how this?
I understand what you're
doing. Great.
So where's the
Next year, Jim.
Exactly.
Next year, Jim has to have fighting souls, man. Set me up next year.
If I could ask Denny Dieters, who came here from Little Sioux Scout Camp, to do the next step in this.